who came out of relative obscurity. When you talk about Immortals, who some of them did come out of what kind of felt like thin air to a lot of them with the Western scene, and we got to see what they were capable of, and the fact that we've seen them, of course, achieve big things already. I think the discussion I'd like to have, just given the time, is that there is this kind of level of players that are not both undiscovered, but also very capable. I just think this is always like a bit of like a public service announcement that there are dead foxes still out there, aren't there, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's it's. Why does he say it like that? There are. I mean, it's not difficult to, as a player, to get to like the level of like individual skill of where like some of the pros are actually. Sure. I mean, it's really, it's not the hardest part of becoming a pro. It's everything that comes around that. And you even see this is like the big leap of why Immortals has never become like a tier 1 team, and like Hellraisers are not a tier 1 team, is because their players are certainly capable and it's certainly possible of having these performances, but it's not consistent. Like it's better to have 20 kills per map consistently than it is to have like the 30 kill blow up and then you're getting 10 to 12 every single like that consistency is something that as a team you need to be able to rely on. You're making plays that you can replicate game after game after game, and that's when you can start building things around it and using your performance as like a tool to win the match. And this is what, like Henny talk about his inconsistency. The only consistency he's had in his game is when he's in Katowice. Like it's both Katowice events where he's been absolutely unreal, and then from there it's like the occasional map.
You do get like occasional reminders of why there was so much hype surrounding him, and it does seem like a recurring theme where we get excited about one player or one match, and then they do seem kind of once again fall off. That consistency is a big factor.
To be fair, when you have a playstyle like Henny does, it's hard to be consistent because it's so explosive, relies on flick shots. It's just like unnatural to begin with.
And it does look like we're doing the veto. Good to know. FaZe and Immortals are about to be duking it out in a best of one. Looks
the
like
unfortunate part for Immortals is, like you guys just mentioned earlier, is they've lost 4 different maps to FaZe at Katowice. So it's just like, where do you go? You have 3 maps left. You're going to have to replay one of those 4, I would imagine. So, I mean, it's kind of like, what's the game plan going into this when you've been systematically beaten by FaZe on multiple different locations?
And the scorelines as well were by no means close. You have 16-6, 16-9, 16-10.
The playoff match was a blowout. Like that series they had in Katowice, everyone thought Immortals might be able to take it, but it was just complete stomp.
I didn't.
You had faith in FaZe.
A lot of people thought that Immortals would win.
This has been quick, though. Look, Inferno taken by FaZe means we've got 2 options left, and they have already played both of them. It's Train and Mirage that are yet to be selected. Now, let's not forget they played that ridiculously long overtime tiebreaker in Train.
It is a bit interesting. I mean, you can't know what FaZe was practicing. You have the games they played in Pro League, but I am a bit surprised that they would go for Mirage. Veto Inferno instead of Mirage, because for Mirage, it's a map Immortals play a lot. It's one of their favorite maps. So if you have practiced Inferno, then why not ban Mirage and leave Inferno in? But I guess it's just preference from FaZe at this point in time.
It also might be something where 0-1, probably not feeling comfortable with where they are in the group, but not expecting this and not wanting to maybe bring out, it could be a little bit of a while. Yeah, maybe they've practiced it. Maybe they just don't know how confident they can actually be on it. Like if this is going to decide whether you go 0-2, do you really want to go to a map that you're like, yes, we have worked on for the past week, but we haven't really tested it against, like, in tournament situations, and this isn't the time to do that. We saw SK risk that with Nuke in Katowice, and that didn't turn out well with them.
On the other hand, Mirage is a map where Immortals really did rely a lot on Phelps when he was in the team to make those plays around window room, towards like ladder, generally in the mid area of the map, right? He would just have great timings, sometimes even walking through a smoke, Immortals through themselves and catching a player off guard. Things like that. It was very like spread out around the map based on like individual plays. Bolts would like walk out of A ramp, get a kill there. So now with FNX, as we mentioned yesterday, they probably need to change that playstyle a little bit, focus more on playing as a team. And they also have some set plays they go for, like Henny, for example. I think everyone knows by now on the CT side, he throws that smoke towards underpass and just like is on the edge of it, trying to get someone top mid. So they needed to have worked on the map to be competitive on it against the best teams in the world, because those are some of the gimmicks that you can pull off once or twice, but then once people see them, they can't really work again.
So on the topic of best teams in the world, we are talking about FaZe, who did get a good result in Katowice, and in some rankings are considered to be top 3, if not top 5 already in the world.
Nice.
Now, Jason, where do you believe FaZe do stand in these kind of rankings? Of course, everyone has their own personal ranking to an extent.
I'd put him. You could put him in the. I'm assuming these are all.
This is the Katowice results. Yeah, head to head.
The last 4 are Katowice, and the first one is really.
I would say they're in the top 5, but I think it's like a very weak top 5 in the sense that like
Lots of changes have happened.
Like once you get like past like VP, I think you put it obviously Astralis, probably put SK up there in like the top 3, and then that 4 and 5 spot I feel like are just going to fluctuate and rotate. I think we have a lot of teams who can compete for that spot.
Right.
And at the moment, I don't think the Katowice
Is enough.
final getting there and losing it is good to put them there, but it's not going to keep you there for very long. They need to have a repeat performance. They need to do it quickly.
A quick repeat of Katowice necessary to put them in the top 5, Janko. Does that kind of resonate with you? I think there is no doubt that there is faith that FaZe could do that, could be in top 5 consistently. What do you make of it?
I definitely agree. I don't think it's enough for a number of reasons. A lot of teams can just have a one-off tournament.
Yeah.
Towards the end of last year, we had 10, 11 tournaments with a different winner, something along those lines. So everyone can have one tournament off. Also, people say FaZe only had 3 days of practice. That's true, but also FaZe was a new team and no one could know what to expect from them. You couldn't anti-strat FaZe at the time because you couldn't know how they're going to play. Now with a couple of pro.
It sounds nice.
It does sound
cool.
pretty nice.
But yeah, Kiyoshima Kyo. We've seen how he kind of did get one of the few French players who was in the top teams fall out of love with the French rosters, and he's moved away. There's very few French players that have done so, and finding success as well. What do we make of Kyo in this move to
He's
FaZe?
moved so far away. He actually lives in the UK.
Yeah, represent. Well, we'll see for how long. Theresa May's got looking out for him.
Politics again.
Why is
with
this
Alex
happening?
Machine
Yeah.
Richardson.
It's happening at EPL too. Matt brings it up all the time.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, we should
The
start.
Commonwealth
What's wrong with you guys? Yeah, these Commonwealthers.
Let's not do it.
I mean, Kyo was always like this is kind of like one of the criticisms of just how the community views players and teams in general. Is it's always going to be the role players who have the microscope on them, and someone like Kiyoshima, obviously in the French teams, was the one who everyone kind of looked to and was like, he's the obvious one underperforming. Now, that being said, he was kind of not having the impact that we were used to seeing him have towards the end of his time in the French teams. I thought the best thing that could happen to him is FaZe actually did a very cool thing with him and Jacob, where they actually did utilize that kind of bench system. And like normally when teams say, yeah, he's benched, it's just kind of like, lexicon for saying he is cut from the team and we are benching him until we find someone to sell him to. Well, in this case, Kerrigan comes in and he's like, no, I want Kiyoshima. I like what he can do. I want to use him as a role player. I'm going to use him as my chess piece. He's been performing so very well, and that's the thing. That's why it's effective in the bench, where it's like you're not playing in this role well, so take some time off. If you're not going to perform, we're not going to put you in the game.
What piece would Kiyoshima be?
What, a chess piece? Ooh,
chess piece.
Fun.
That's not a bad question. I think he would be.
I've got one in mind.
I mean, you can't do pawn. That's a bit cruel. I think he'd be a knight.
Knight. I was thinking the same.
Yeah, were you?
Yeah.
Attaboy.
I would give him the
Bishop. You're a bishop man, aren't you?
No, wait. What's the one that is like a horse? How do you call that?
That's
a knight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look
I
at
would
that.
have given a
Yeah,
knight.
yeah, the horse.
Yeah.
I see where you've gone with
I
that
thought
one.
bishop is a knight.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, bishop is the diagonal one.
Yeah,
but I don't think the names of the piece matter to you. You just wanted to go for the horse thing, didn't you?
Well, throwing me under the bus on that
Yeah.
one.
Yes,
That's how we
indeed.
do
Chess. Yeah. So in the game of chess, Kyo is the knight, and while we're doing this comparison,
Horse.
while we're doing this comparison, what does that make Nico? What does that make Nico?
The
I-
mon-
Queen.
He's the